Welcome, Army fans. This is Joe Iacono with GoBlackKnights.com, along with the father of Larry Pickett Jr., Larry Pickett, who obviously has been in the national news a lot the last couple of days for his heroic actions, along with his son Larry, who we interviewed last night here at GBK. Larry, tell us what we talked about it a little bit before we came on air. Tell us what your week's been like since Saturday night.
Wow, this week has been a whirlwind, as they would say. Of course, we all know what happened, and so the national media has taken a hold of the story. So we've been talking to everybody from Good Morning America to NBC Nightly News, World News Tonight, Inside Edition, ESPN, Fox. I mean, you name it, Sports Illustrated. I can't even tell you how many national outlets have reached out to us. And I just am saying the same thing to everybody. Thank you for, recognizing my favorite soldier, LJ Pickett. So it's been pretty awesome. And we're so happy that Mr. Denton is okay. That's the main thing that we are concerned about.
I was going to ask you about that. Have you had an opportunity to be in contact with the gentleman you saved, Mr. Denton, I guess is his name, or his family over the last couple of days? Is everything going well there?
Yes, sir. So somebody reached out on one of the posts from one of those outlets that posted the video in the comments section and said, "Thank you so much for saving my friend and church member." So I reached out to that person in a private message asking if I can have his number so I can see if he needs anything and if he's okay. And I gave her my number, which in turn she gave to him. And he texted me last night. He's grateful for us having to help him and plan to talk or meet one day.
Great. Well, that's awesome. Just an incredible story, and just the everyone associated with West Point is super proud of LJ and you. It was pretty cool. We got the opportunity to meet for the first time and talk pregame Friday night on the field prior to Tarleton State, and little did I know that I would be talking to
Yep.
a guy who's become super in demand and a little bit of a national hero. What does kind of walk us through. I've asked LJ his account of the incident. Kind of, I think you were driving the car. Kind of walk us through the incident and what happened, and kind of some of the decision making that went into you and LJ being able to save Mr. Denton's life.
Yeah, so we were in town because of the Tarleton State game on Friday. And it was myself, my wife, our two daughters, Olivia and Lauren, and his girlfriend. And since the game was on Friday, we had Saturday to hang out with each other. And since he's been at West Point since prep, we've been in the area a lot. Of course, he's a sophomore now. And we've been to Times Square. We've tried to hit up different areas of New York, but we went back to Times Square. We decided to go back. We had a nice time out there, and we had dinner. And so yes, after heading back from a night out, it was right after midnight. So, technically Sunday morning. And I'm driving, like you said, and I pull up to a power line on the road and it was sparking. And you look to the side and because we couldn't hear anything at that point because music was up and things like that. But you look to the side and you see a car in the trees and the power line was under it and it was still sparking and the actual pole was on top of the vehicle. And as we looked at that, we saw because the gentleman didn't have any window tint, there was still somebody in there and he was literally just staring. The airbag had deployed, but he's just staring straight. He wasn't moving. So of course we got out the car and LJ sprung into action. We opened the door and but before we got there, of course, because of the situation, people are around calling 911 and looking, but I would imagine they didn't go forward to try to help him because of the power line. And we totally understand why they didn't want to
Big
help him,
risk, yeah.
understandably so. Big risk. I mean, I was talking to somebody earlier about a defibrillator. If somebody's having a heart attack, the reason that you have to clear is because, yes, it jump starts their heart, but it can stop your heart. So I realized other people probably didn't want to touch the car because it's a big piece of metal and steel and aluminum. But LJ sprung into action. We got in there, opened the vehicle up. He was still buckled up. airbag deployed and just staring straight. He was not responsive, but he was not unconscious. He was just staring. So we talked to him. His seatbelt was on, so it took a second to get that off. So we were there for a while. You can hear the popping of the electrical wire. You can see the flashing from the electrical wire. The car had already started to catch on fire, the smoke. So there was a lot going on there. And then that was around the time my youngest daughter, Lauren, pulled out her phone. And then she started recording about that point where we had just got a seatbelt off. And you can see, I think maybe on like the third tug is where we can get him out. And then I fall to the ground at that point. And then, of course, we pick him up and take him across the street. But it was one of those things where it was amazing to see LJ, in action, get him to the side of the road. And on the video, you can see he's leaning against LJ. The police hadn't got there quite yet, the ambulance or the fire department. So it was just us over there. And so we're checking him out, just asking him questions, seeing if anything hurts, making sure he didn't have any internal bleeding. He was bleeding. You can see blood, but we didn't know where it was coming from. So yeah, LJ took care of him. And obviously the real heroes showed up, the fire department, all the EMS, the police, the people who do this every single day and do not get this type of coverage.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
so the real heroes showed up and then they took over from there.
Good stuff. Did you mentioned the bleeding? I wasn't aware of that. Did any of LJ's first aid training from Beast come into effect there? That he was able to help with the bleeding or kind of dress that wound, or how did that go?
I know I never saw where someone was bleeding from. But somebody I heard that had got out of a vehicle was like, grab a tourniquet. So somebody had one somewhere and was going to get it. I don't think they ever had to use it. Um, but it wasn't like it was a lot of blood, but he had blood on his shirt, he had blood on his pants. He was definitely bleeding. And we just wanted to make sure that he was, okay, because he wasn't really responding to us. He didn't respond at all in the car. And you can see that's why we had to literally get him out because he was just sitting there staring. But once he woke up and you can see it on the video, he's like, what's going on? Who is that? Whose car is that? We're like, that's your car, sir. He's like, oh no, that's not my car, So I said, you're disoriented. I promise you, that's your car, because he kept asking the same questions
Oh
over
wow.
and over again. Like, what's going? I think he had a concussion, but that's my
Yeah,
unofficial, non-medical.
right.
I have
That's what
no
it
medical
sounds like, but
background.
neither one of us are doctors, so yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, once the rescue team got there and they had him all checked out and they were ready to lift to put him on a stretcher, you can hear him on the video asking, is it okay if I get up by myself? So he got up by himself and sat on the stretcher by himself. So that was great to see because we know it could have been a totally different outcome. I mean, even when we went back, we live in North Carolina, so when we were driving back by the scene the next morning to head back home, we slowed down to look at the scene, and right behind where the car was is an above ground propane tank.
Wow.
It's like this could have been so much worse. You hear about, homes exploding. You hear about people going to rescue somebody who's drowning and they don't make it. So things like that. So we're just so grateful to God that He had His angels of protection surrounding us around because yes, if our clothes would have caught on fire, that could be temporary. You can, stop, drop, and roll. You can flame, get the flames off, take off your clothes, whatever the case. But one touch from the electrical wire, that could have been it. So
Oh yeah.
we're very grateful because it was two different things going on there with both the fire and the electrical.
Yeah,
So
I mean, that could have been an
all
explosion. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that part. That's really good information. So yeah, you guys were definitely blessed in that
yeah,
situation.
you
Larry,
drive by the
last
Dunkin'
question
Donuts.
for you, and sorry to cut this a little short. I actually have to go interview Coach Woody and some of the players after this. So, um, uh, it's obvious. And when I spoke to LJ last night, you and your wife did a great job raising him, and just an incredible kid. You have your Jesus T-shirt on there. Clearly, you guys are Christians with great values and everything. And just talk a little bit about the environment in your home, and how important it is to raise your kids with good values. Obviously, typically West Point's very selective. They take less than 10% of all applicants. So if you don't come in already with good values, your chances of making it are even lower. And you guys did a great job. And I just want you to talk a little bit about the environment in your home and what that was like. You mentioned your daughter. I'm sure all your kids are great kids. So just talk a little bit about that for everybody.
Sure. Like you said, we have two daughters as well, Olivia and Lauren, and they're the same way. Olivia is student body president 2 years in a row of her school, and Lauren and all of them are very involved in our church, youth ambassadors. LJ traveled with us to Mexico to help build homes for the
Oh, awesome.
unfortunate. I mean, just we've grown up in church. They've grown up in church their entire life. We were youth pastors of our church up until LJ was going to West Point. We let them know that our travel schedule will probably be driving back on Sundays, so we relinquished that duty to another really good couple. But we're elders at our church. They've grown up around faith. They've every part of our journey has been faith driven. I mean, even just like I was talking about, like the shock in the fire that could have taken us out. But the Bible says we can tread on serpents and scorpions. So also we can tread on fire and shock. So they're
Absolutely.
raised in a home where they know that the word is first. And I definitely appreciate also West Point's leadership aspect that is adding to that. It's another layer. So he's grown up, in what we would imagine is a really good home for all three of them, and so we're just super proud of him.
That's awesome, Larry. We really appreciate you coming on. We know you've been super busy the last couple of days, so we appreciate you taking 10 minutes to hang out with GBK. We know you told us Friday night you watch all our videos, so
Yes,
you get to watch this one back now, which is
I came
awesome.
up to you.
And
I found you. I saw you. I said I gotta go shake his hand. For the last 3 years, ever since prep, I've seen every video you've ever put out. So shout out to you and
awesome.
everybody who's
Well,
covering
hopefully
Army.
I'm improving. So,
That's
um,
what you told me.
are are you heading out to Manhattan for the Kansas State game?
Yes, sir. We fly out on Friday, so we'll be there. We're going to be supporting him and cheering on the team. We'll be there.
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, thank you very much, Larry. Appreciate your time. Uh, Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Icono with GoBlackKnights.com, along with Larry Pickett Sr., American hero, and Go Army beat Kansas State.